Hi there, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's 4 o'clock in New York. At this very hour, we are following what now resembles an ongoing slow-motion train wreck. That is Pete Hegseth's last-ditch effort to be confirmed by the United States Senate as Donald Trump's Secretary of Defense. We should tell you it is a fluid situation.
And this is a good sign, I think.
I mean, you said it, and I didn't recoil, but I was like, you said, I think it was 2 weeks ago, these things are not preordained. These don't have to happen. This isn't automatic. And I have so little expectation that Senate Republicans will ever do the right thing that I really did. I thought you were wrong on Gates and on this. But it would appear, based on NBC's reporting from 23 hours ago, that 6 Republicans are not comfortable with Hegseth as Secretary of Defense.
Yeah, I said this is not normal, it's not acceptable, and it's not inevitable. And right now, the key to all this, I think, is Joni Ernst. You asked me a couple weeks ago who's going to be key here. Joni Ernst is a combat veteran. She's much more moderate than Pete Hegseth, and she's a sexual assault survivor. So he's going to have to sit across from her and explain how he's going to effectively lead people like her, how he's going to pass her criteria to be the leader of a military that has 200,000 women in it. After he's also made the policy position that he wants to remove women from military, which I've said before, from combat, which I've said before means they're not equal, right? He's saying to Joni Ernst across from a senator, you are not equal to me. You can't do the same things I do. Now, if she votes no, or she comes out of this meeting that he may still be in with her now and says she's got reservations, I think he's done. And I think Trump will very quickly put DeSantis forward, or maybe even put her forward. That's the irony here, is if he had put her forward, she would have gone right through. I don't think many Democrats would have stopped her, and he would have had another crisis to deal with. But I think right now it comes down to Joni Ernst, maybe Lindsey Graham, maybe some other moderates, but most of all her, because she's got the influence among her colleagues, and she can stop this single-handedly.
Weigh in on what my dad's talking about, that you've got him using this language of a deployment, saying, I don't have a problem with alcohol, and if I'm deployed, I won't take a drop.
Look, I mean, there's so much stuff out there right now, and there's probably more to come. This is damage control.
Did you know all this stuff? Because I feel like...
No, I didn't know any of these allegations, right? And I don't, but he is known throughout the community as a person who's political, who's become much more extreme, who said crazy stuff on TV on a regular basis. He's written crazy stuff, in my view, in his book. So that part of this is public. And America is getting to know the guy that most Fox viewers know. If you watch Fox, you know who he is. I think there's a large part of the country that didn't know that part of Pete Hegseth that is now getting to know him. And I think at the end of the day, our enemies are celebrating this. Putin loves to see this kind of crap. Right now, the disruption and the tumult is, well, we've got issues like South Korea right now, where this person is going to have to deal with issues like that in the months to come. We need someone who's stable, someone who's balanced, someone who's moderate, and someone who's trusted. And right now, it looks like he's not trusted even by his own Republican colleagues. And I think there's two pieces that are maybe a bit underreported. Number one, it is a violation of the UCMJ to commit adultery. Article 134 in the UCMJ prohibits adultery. So you can be punishable under the Uniform Code of Military Justice if you commit adultery. He has openly admitted he's done that. So that's issue number one. Number two, the thing with his mother just makes me sad. I mean, because now she's performing for Trump. There is an audience of one, and his mother is actually very charismatic, also very effective. I wouldn't be surprised if she got nominated for something in this administration. But to put your mother out there is also something else that I don't know what you'd have to do to me to put my mother in that chair right now. I would never do it. No job is worth putting my mother through that. And I've seen other family members have to go through similar things, advocating for suicide and other things. But this is on a whole nother level. And I don't know if that's going to work for him. And I don't know if it's going to work for Trump when he sees it on Fox today.
How do you think this ends?
I think it's going to happen within the next couple of hours, probably, with Joni Ernst. It's up to her, unless more stuff comes out, which is entirely possible because we haven't even gotten to January yet. So I don't know. I think the sign of Trump probably leaking DeSantis is a test balloon.
Four sources.
It's a test balloon. It's the Wall Street Journal. It's a place he always leaks stuff. So I think he's testing the weather and seeing how DeSantis is there, and he's probably got a backup plan. If he really wants to pull a masterful move, he'll nominate Joni Ernst, because she'll go right through, and she'll be the first female Secretary of Defense in American history.
All right, no one's going anywhere. So much more still ahead for us.
It's also kind of a diversionary tactic thing here. right? Like Gates is out of the way. He was taking all the arrows and all the attention. Then they go down to Hegseth, right? If Hegseth goes out, maybe it's Tulsi Gabbard next. But in the meantime, he's doing things like nominating a very radical person for VA secretary. He's nominating someone to head the Navy who's never been in the Navy, right? An undersecretary of defense who's got conflicts of interest potentially with defense contractors and has also never served in the Navy. So he's flooding the zone, and he's challenging the Democrats, he's challenging the media, and he's challenging the public to see if they can even keep track. And he knows the holidays are coming. And people want to check out. They're tired of watching the news, and he wants to press his advantage. So these next couple of weeks are really key. People are tired. People are frustrated. Many people are demoralized. But right now is when you need to stay most vigilant, because right now, arguably, the Democrats have the most power and can still have the most influence, because the switch is going to flip big time on January 20th.
Well, we're not tired. What should we be focused on? I mean, beyond the names. I mean, why don't you put them in order for us?
All of those. I mean, I think I just did. Yeah. I mean, I think, I talked about this earlier, but Collins at VA is equally radical. He's a pastor. He's a very religious guy. He's also very loyal to Trump. The fealty is really, I think, what we're getting in all these candidates. And they're kind of a 1-2 punch to tackle two of the biggest institutions and two of the biggest employers in America. So if you send two of these guys at the Department of Defense and the VA, you're talking about a massive piece of the federal government in terms of budget, in terms of personnel, and in terms of culture. So if I were him, I'd start with those two places too, and I'd put my guys there first and try to knock those down, because other things will be easier after that.
Think he's going to withdraw?
I don't know, but listen, I just the president. I give the president a lot of deference here. I've said I'll support folks. My perception is I'll support whoever he wants and thinks is going to be great for his cabinet. It's not 100% clear to me who he wants as Secretary of Defense right now.
Josh Hawley, it's not clear who he wants as Secretary of Defense right now.
Yeah, nobody's clear. Welcome to the chaos. I called him President Mayhem in the last term. I think that's what we're going to have more of. It could be Ernst. It could be DeSantis. It could be Tom Cotton. It could be somebody we haven't even mentioned. I think this is going to be the new normal, is constant chaos. I actually want to go back to Tim for a second.
Sure.
I thought he was so uniquely effective and clear. I know the DNC is looking for a new chair. He might be the best person for it, because, what he's saying is important. Don't just be scared, be prepared. And I think that's what everybody should do. Kind of steel yourself for all the eventualities. In the military, we call it the most dangerous course of action. Every American should be ready for every dangerous course of action. That way you're prepared for it, and you're not caught on your heels, and you're ready for whatever comes next.
So important. We're going to need you to stick around, as this is a developing story. The government, the case of Mattis, he had his detractors, but he was universally respected and regarded as a professional person. The people who went to the CIA and the intelligence posts were largely respected and experienced people. He has an aversion to those people. He has traveled the most distance. For someone who doesn't have a lot of new moves or new tricks, this represents the greatest shift in Donald Trump. He's gone from craving people who are impressive to craving people who are just as unimpressive.
Yes, but Tulsi Gabbard is impressive to him in a different way. She's great on TV. She's very effective as a communicator. She's great on Joe Rogan. Like, she goes to the places that Pete Hegseth goes. She has a populist appeal. She kind of sounds like a peacenik sometimes, but then she also cozies up with war criminals. The most important thing to know about Tulsi Gabbard, and all of us have seen this evolution in the open, especially in the veterans community, she can't be trusted. I met her when she first came to Congress. We were almost friends, associates, and we've seen this evolution where people would say, what's up with Tulsi? Like, what is up with her? And that's the question that nobody can answer. I asked her on my podcast in 2019, what is up with Assad? Why are you apologizing for Assad? Where does that come from? And now it's evolved to apologizing for Putin and apologizing for autocrats around the world. So the real question is, can she be trusted? This is a person who was a rock star in the Democratic Party a couple years ago. Then she became an independent. Now she's a Republican. So you can't even trust her political affiliations here at home. How can you trust her affiliations abroad? So the big question is she compromised? Is she compromised by her adversaries? And that's what the FBI and the public has to get to the bottom of.